What's going on, boys? Look, guys here. Welcome back. No weekly tactics video today. This week, as I mentioned last week, maybe I'll do one next week. But today's video, we're going to go over the 4-3-3 fifth variation, the false nine tactic, the old Pep Guardiola possession-based tactic. A tactic that I would say is not really meta, quote unquote. Well, it can be for the right players, but the truth is, there's only a few players that can actually play in this format, and always the back three is better. But I hope these tactics will give you, so for those that like possession, playing a bit slower, playing a bit more calm, I would say, less route one, less spamming through balls, this will be the tactic for you. Let's go through it. Now, this one, we're going to start in the opposite one. We're going to start with the instructions first, because I'm going to give you kind of three ways you can play this, but I'm going to go over the main instructions. So for both the left wing and the right wing, for both of them, you want get in behind, and then you want cut inside. Now, the thing I would say with this is why this formation is one of those very delicate formations. What we think would like to happen doesn't actually happen in FIFA. So although cut inside seems to be good, it'll only work if you're, so I'll give an example. Myself, for example, when I'm playing possession style football, I like it a bit more freeform. But I like the certain players in the areas that they are. The problem with cut inside is they always cut inside. Sometimes you want a player to be wide. If your opponent's playing a back five, you want to have that adaptability inside the game. I honestly just say put them both on. Instead of cut inside, just get it behind, and the game will be smart. Now, the good thing with getting behind is they will still make those cut inside runs, because what chance creation does is when it's unbalanced, the game kind of decides what's the best to do in that situation. Every situation is different. But if there's space there, the game will exploit. That's why I've got both of them and get it behind and come back in defense, so you're a bit more secure defensively. Now, for the central player now, the thing would be false nine. Now, again, this is one of these other ones. Now, the problem is in FIFA, in real life, you can play a false nine. In FIFA, when you have this play in false nine, there's literally no one else up front. Unless you're really, and this is why I say it's important, unless you're very good at triggering, and you know this ability, even myself, I don't like to trigger my striker all the time. I want that player to be there without me triggering it. If you put false nine in, sometimes you're going to have no one up front. Now, this I want to be honest with you. If you're like in Division 2 and above, you will struggle with false nine on this. In my opinion, just leave him on balanced. If you want, you can put him on stay central, get him behind, but I put him on stay central balanced. I think it's a good combination. This has got to be the more of the heart of the player, someone that can be a good dribbler. You put anyone there. I put sometimes this player there, Mukhtar, I think that's how you say his name. I put Martinelli there. Son can also get the job done, the team of the season variation, the nominee one. And that's the way that I have it. Now, for the CDM, cut passing lanes, stay back while attacking, and cover centre. Now, for both the centre mids, now I would say these are arguably the most important players inside the pitch. These players, I think of them like the attacking players in behind the line. The problem with this formation is you have one striker. Similar to like a 5-4-1, but this is even less attacking. Now, if you're very slow on possession, you'll be fine. In my opinion, these two players are probably the most important players after the striker. Now, what I would say is, I'd recommend first of you, all of you putting them both of them on get forward, and then if you need to, putting, for example, one of them on balanced, etc., etc. I mean, if you really want to be aggressive, I would say put get forward first. Start aggressive first, then tone it down. Don't start defensive. This is the only way I'd say start offensive, right? The other option is you can put one of them on stay forward, the other one on stay back, and the third option you can have them both on stay back. Personally speaking, I think with this formation, putting them both on stable attacking, there's absolutely no need to do that, because you need those players to be running in between the lines. You need these players be making runs beyond the striker. So I like attacking centre mids. I've put here Brandt. You can put anyone else here. I've been subbing some players on, some shapeshifters on as well here. That player is very, very good. He's got to be good at attacking. And then one of them can do a bit of everything. Now, so where I've got it is Brandt's my second striker. And then Saka is kind of like my third striker going forward. But also he has the ability to play that midfield role and defend as well. Sort of good stats. Saka's one of the best players inside the game all around. That's why he's amazing. You'll play him anywhere. I personally put cover centre on both. Only put cover wing if you push the fullbacks forward. Now for the fullbacks, look, you can put them both. Make sure they're both going to be on overlap. Now, I would recommend balanced here. With this formation, this is the thing why I think 3-back formations easily trump a false nine. It's because when you're attacking, you only have 2 players back. And that means that, okay, you might have Vieira that's a bit in front, but when you lose the ball, there's a big chance you can concede. It's very risky taking that risk. Me personally, I wouldn't do that. I just think it's too risky. You can leave one of them unbalanced if you want to, but at that point, I don't think it's worth using that formation. So what I'd recommend is leave them unbalanced. If you're a bit more advanced user, I'd recommend, or I'd say if you're either advanced and you don't mind pushing them forward, like manual L1 triggers or LB triggers, that's one option. Or if you're just not worried about the attack with your fullbacks, or you're too worried about, let's say, a defensive counter attack, then you could put them both on stay back while attacking. That's why this false 9, it should have a better play, but it's not really used as much. It's just that because there's so many other formations that are more attacking options. Even if you think about a 5-4-1, let's say a 5-4-1, right? You've got the 4 midfielders, and you've got strikers, and you have the left back and right back coming forward as well. So technically, you have that kind of that similar diamond system, but you have that attacking system as well up front. So that is why people like to introduce a set of backs going forward. That is why even with a 4-2-3-1, you could think of it, okay, think of this like a 4-2-3-1 in some sense. Let's say that's a CDM, and let's say that's a CDM, and one of the cams was behind. People prefer the 4-2-3-1 because then you've got the striker behind the cam. So I was trying to say, with these formations, it's a very unique use case. You would know if you want to play it or not. Let's go for the tactics. Don't forget, if you want to get better at FIFA, come to my page, Patreon, patreon.com/Neil, guys. Links down below in the description. We're starting EFC videos and real life videos, but we'll go with some false 9 examples as well. But we're talking about main formations here now. Defensive style, look, if you want to go the Pep Guardiola approach, press off possession loss. Be very careful with this though. I'd still recommend balance, but if you want to do this, but I know people do just skip to the end of the video and then they start crying that oh, it's too aggressive. So I'm just going to leave it on balance for now, but I recommend press of possession loss if you can handle it. That's the key. You will notice it's always good to try things out, and don't just copy things and be like, that's set in stone. Unless I say try not to change something. For the width, it's fine. Put it to 45. The depth, this is actually somewhat important. I put this a bit higher. Now, the reason why is this formation, it's a bit of a sticky one. Now, when you can technically defend in a 5 midfield, technically, but it doesn't really work that. You can't really bring it back in a... It's a good formation for defense. Like, it's not a formation to close the game out. But this formation, the reason I'll say higher up the pitch is because when you win the ball back, you want the players higher up the pitch together. The problem is, if a lot of these players are sitting back, is that you don't really have that attacking outlet as you would want, because your left back or left mid and right mid, they're going to be coming back, and your left back and right back will be coming back defensively. So when you get the ball back, those players are not going to be forward. This is why I say this player's forward, because let's say you're defending, right? Remember, we've got the left mid and right mid, or left wing, right wing, or come back in defense, right? If you only have your striker there, it's very hard to then get the ball to that player. And that's what I'm trying to say. For Route 1 football, this is not really your go-to. This is more for like if you like to be a bit more slower, a bit more progressive. So high depth. Build-up play, there's 2. There's 3 options, I would say, actually. Balance would be that if you're not too sure, use balanced, okay? I would still recommend long ball. And the reason why is long ball triggers these 2 players, which are very, very important. Forwards. Back in the day when there was no... when it was just long ball and that was it, and there was no other final third chance creation, you couldn't use possession. Now you can use a combination of both. So I would put long ball still, because I want these players to make runs going forward. The centre mids, because don't forget, unlike the wingers who have, for example, getting behind, the left centre mid and right centre mid, they don't have getting behind. You're left to your own devices using L1 triggers yourself. So long ball just helps them go forward. Just think of it like getting behind. That's the best way of using long ball. Otherwise, slow build-up play is good. But again, you would know yourself. Are you that very slow player that really takes their time? It's a bit. I would say this is a bit more common, for example, in for example those that are very on a high level, that are very diligent players, or I would say more around. I would say Division 3 and below. And the reason why I say this is because the way FIFA is, it's quite a slow game anyway. You don't really need slow build-up play that much. The chance creation now, bit of contrary. So I used to use possession back in the day. Now, this is something that I want to explain as well. Possession makes sense. This is why the false 9 is just very difficult to get a perfect formation for this, because possession, it makes sense, right? Because you want players to come towards you, but you'd want that in the build-up phases. You would want players to come towards you in the build-up phases. When you're in the final third, you don't really want players coming towards you. And the problem with possession is that players come towards you and then they almost lean too much to come towards you and then don't go into attacking positions. They won't make those runs in behind. And that's the problem with possession. That is why, although logically you think, oh, it's the right tactic to use, I think a lot of people use this more like in manager mode or kickoff or like playing against AI. Maybe you're a bit more better. But if you like the short game, I'll be honest, I'd recommend balance. Just let the game decide what the game wants to do. The game will know when your striker's there, whether to get in behind or to sit deep. The game will know that. Personally, I would use balanced. But for those that really want to use possession, you can. The problem is you're relying on one thing, L1 triggers. If you're not using L1, LB triggers almost every 5 seconds inside the game, it's going to be very hard to build up. So 1-2, just L1Xs or LBAs, because someone's asking me what the 1-2s mean. I always say 1-2s, always forget to mention exactly what it means. But 1-2s and pass give and goes and L1 triggers are so important. If you don't use that, you got to go balanced. Width, I actually go with 70. Be a bit more wider in midfield. That also gives space for these guys as well. The 2 centre mids. That's why I'd say in this formation in Pacific, these players are probably the most important or one of the most important. And then 7 players in the box is fine. Corners and free kicks, however you do like. As I said, look, these players are more like, I would say, just players to get the ball down the wing and just make runs in behind. If you try to put free roam, they don't do anything. They don't really free roam as you would like to think they would in real life. Don't expect one to become a left centre forward or something like that. It just doesn't work. A lot of the time, these players are going to feel like they're out of play. And that is the problem with it. And this is why I say this problem with this formation is that they're wingers, but they're just there to occupy. So these are the kind of players that maybe you want to break through the line on L1 triangle above. So you still need pace here. Good passing, good agility and balance. The middle guy, I recommend personally not a target man, someone who's got good agility and balance, because when that plays a sole striker, they need to hold the ball up. Unfortunately, in FIFA, holding up the ball with a tall player is just not viable enough. And then, yeah, the 2 attacking players in midfield. And that is the false 9. As I said, it's one of those tactics that just didn't make the cut. You know, if I tried to release this in October, maybe a lot, 30% of you may like it, but the truth is, it's just one of those formations that's not meta. And that's why I've never really made that formation or used it throughout the entire year. As I said to you, so when we come around about this time of the year, it's more those unique niche formations that maybe I don't find meta, maybe the pros don't find meta, but maybe you will enjoy it. But anyway, I hope you enjoy this video. Don't forget, if you want to get better at FIFA, Patreon, so it's patreon.com/nilguys. Links down in the description. If you don't get better after 1 month, I'll refund you my Nil Guys guarantee. Or you can click over here. Thanks for watching. And of course, I'll catch you next week. Peace out.